Hi guys, I'm Dinesh Babu. So today we will discuss about SQL Server database table horizontal partitioning. So SQL Server supports uh, horizontal partitioning and vertical partitioning. So in case of horizontal partitioning, a number of rows are divides in the number of groups based on the file structure and the range that we gives in the partition function. So all those detail we will discuss here. And also SQL Server supports vertical partitioning. So in case of vertical partitioning, number of columns or group of columns are divided into different groups. So suppose if I have a table with 50 columns, so we can in case of vertical partitioning we can divide those 50 columns in separate five groups. So in case for five groups, so we will have in single group we can have 10 columns, and in second group we can have 10 column like that. So here we will only discuss about horizontal partitioning. So before dig into detail, before go into detail, I am assuming everybody will or everybody have knowledge about the SQL Server database architecture, table architecture, joins, indexes, and querying, how the data is stored, how the file structure is, and file group structure, and what is LDF file, what is MDF, that is primary file. So I'm assuming this is the basic requirement for horizontal partitioning for go for the horizontal table partitioning. So let us so before for the demonstration purpose I have used DB partition database. So in this DB partition database, we will create a table and then insert record and partition those record into different file groups. So I'm assuming in the if in your respective environment you don't have a DB partition database in your server, otherwise it will this statement will drop the DB partition. So please be careful before executing this statement. So this is just for the demonstration or for the testing purpose. So please be careful. So let us if we have any DB partition, so I'm dropping. So yeah, DB partition database. So refresh here. So in the database list now we don't have any DB partition database. Now let us create a DB partition database with the primary file name, that is DB partition underscore logical underscore primary. So this file logical primary file name will be this, and physical file name for the primary file will be DB partition underscore physical underscore primary dot mdf. So this will store the data dot mdf, and this is the logical log file, and this is the physical log file db partition underscore physical underscore file underscore log dot ldf. So ldf is log file, mdf is the primary file. So let us execute this and create this db partition database with the primary and log file dot mdf and dot ldf, and then we will see. So here I have mentioned table for that mdf file structure folder structure c column slash partition primary and db partition underscore physical underscore primary, and for ldf it is log underscore db partition underscore physical underscore log dot ldf. So let us see. Yeah, here it is. So this is just now created sql 212, and here it is 213. So this primary file name is this. Now use db partition. Now we will use. So this is how once we create a database, so there are at least two files always created, that is one is primary file that is mdf, and one is log file that is ldf. Now use this db partition database that we just created, and we let us check about the detail about the file and file group structure. So database properties, and I'm assuming we have the suffice permission to view to the database property options, all those. So then only we can see a database property and all those things. So file group is only one, primary one, read only, default is yes, and file are 2, that is db partition underscore. So db partition logical primary. So this is a primary file, uh, primary, that is data file, raw data and primary. So initial size is 3 MB, and this is db partition logical underscore log. This is log file, and initial size unrestricted file growth. So here we can define unrestricted and restricted file growth, and for ldf we can also define restricted and unrestricted file growth. So this is, and this is the actual file name. C column, this is the file name is db partition underscore physical. So this is the actual file that will store data in the C drive and respective folder. Respective folder are partition underscore primary, partition underscore log. So this is for log file. Now let us create secondary file. For creating a secondary file, let us create a file group. So file group, so let us create these file group. So alter database db partition add file group db partition underscore secondary underscore fg1 fg2 fg3 fg2 fg5. So we are creating 5 file group. Now let us check the file groups structure of this db partition database. So here it is, here we go. So db partition underscore secondary fg1. So this is file group 1, file group 2, file group 3, file group 4, file group 5. So this is, yeah, here we can see a file group and then file structure and where exactly the LDF file is stored, where exactly MDF file is stored. Now create a secondary files on the respective file group. So now alter database db partition add file. Now file is this db partition underscore this underscore secondary file 1, and secondary file name is db partition underscore secondary file 1.ndf. So this is the actual ndf file which will get created inside secondary folder. So C column slash partition secondary db partition underscore secondary file 1. So and this will create on the file group this db partition underscore secondary file group. So this file group will have now this file secondary file, and this is the secondary file. So this way we now let us execute, and the same way I have statement for rest of the file, because we have 5 file groups. So I'm creating 5 secondary file. So yeah, here it is executed. Now check for database properties and then file structure. So file group, yeah, we already had these file groups. Now files. So initially we have this primary, this is data file group, and log file. So here earlier we were having these 2 file group only. Now these we have this much of files, and on these separate or different 5 file group. So this is the file which is on db partition underscore secondary fg1, db partition underscore secondary file 2, db partition secondary file fg2, fg3, fg4, fg5. So these are the secondary file and primary file and file group structure, and also the log file. So yeah, so now we will discuss more about the SQL Server. Till now we have discussed about the database file group structure, how the file group contains, or how we create a file on a file group, all those things. Now let us create a partition function. So for the horizontal partitioning we create a partition function. So create partition function, this partition function name on date. So data type for these value is date. So date as range left for values. So values are 1st Jan 2010, 1st Jan 2011, 1st Jan 2012, and 1st Jan 2013. Now in case of range left for values, how the data will store or what pattern it will follow. So range left partition 2010, 11, 12, 13. So a file group first will contain 2010 less than equal to 2010, and file group 2 will contain 2000 greater than data 2010 and less than 2011. File group 2 will contain 2000 greater than 2011 and less than 2000, less than equal to 2012, and file group 4 will contains greater than the date created, that is created is 2012 and less than equal to 2013, and file group 5 will contains data which is greater than 2013. So this is how the range left will store the data, and this is the how the range right partition will store the data. So this is the pattern for range left and range right. So I am creating this partition function with these value, range left for values 2010, 2011. Yeah, so now, yeah, we have created partition function as range left for values. So these are the values. So these values will get bifurcated on these file groups. So file groups, we already have this DB partition. So these range, so in the partition scheme, we divide those range values into the different file group. So this is how we create a partition scheme. So create partition scheme, partition scheme name, partition scheme by year as partition function. Using this partition function, partition scheme, this is this one we have just created. And then, so this partition scheme will be created to this file group, that is first file group, db partition underscore secondary fg1, db partition underscore secondary fg2, db partition underscore secondary fg3, and so on for fg5, fifth file group, secondary file group. So now let us create a db partition database partition scheme. So this is the partition scheme. Now create table on this partition scheme. Now I'm creating a table partition empid int, and so I'm assuming we will not, we don't have this table in our respective environment, because just now we have created our database. So anyway our database is empty, so I'm creating this table on this, using this partition scheme on this partition scheme. So create this table. Yeah, now table is created. Now as per our first statement, initial statements, created a partition in this table to spread 1 million across 5 file groups. 1 million contains 10 record, 10 lakh record, and now 10 lakh record will bifurcated among 10, sorry, for on 5 file group. So each file group will contain at least 2 lakh record. So this is the our uh, way how we are partitioning. So I'm inserting data into table partition, first name, last name, DEPT, salary, and created date. And first name is Dinesh, last name is Babu, department is IT, salary is this, and created date is 2010. And for so I'm inserting. So go statement will insert this these record of 2 lakh this much number of times. So I'm first executing this, and then we will execute a next statement. So let us check how many record. We can check number of record using this sp underscore space use table partition. So our database name is db partition. So db partition, yeah, and now check how many record. Yeah, here we have 24,000 record. Now, but using statement we are inserting 2 lakh record. So these 2 lakh record for the year 2010, first Jan 2010, will get stored or will go in the first file group. The first file group is, because we are using for this table this partition scheme, and partition scheme we have defined a range in the partition function, and scheme will use these partition this file group. So db partition underscore secondary fg1. So as per our structure, partition function and partition scheme, this row, this record, and this 2 lakh record will go on first file group. So let us wait for the execution, for the insertion of 2 lakh record for employee or for the record Dinesh and last name is Babu. Now let us check how many record we have. So yeah, 1,02,299. So we are inserting 2 lakh record. So let us wait because we are uh, demoing or giving presentation or we are testing all our horizontal partition using 1 million of records. So 1 million contains 10 lakh and so we are using 5 file group using 4 ranges. So 5 file group, each file group will contain 2 lakh record. And after that we will dig into detail more about how the data is stored in the file groups. So let us wait for the execution. This go to lakh. So this is inserting 2 lakh record. So it is executing that statement. So generally we define partition function for the range of the values, and so using that partition scheme we define a partition scheme. So in partition scheme we use that particular partition function, and in function we already defined the range, and while defining the partition scheme we define the file group. So as per the range, those file group will contain the range of the values. So range of the values will follow the pattern that we already discussed. This is range right partition, range right for value, range left for a value. So this is how this data or value bifurcation will happen on different file group. So yeah, I have this first 2 lakh record, first record get inserted. Now I'm executing second statement. Yeah, now it is executing. So for the second statement, I'm inserting first name Alan, second name DeFreeze, department is HR, salary is this much, and created date is 1st Jan 2011. So let us wait because we are inserting 2 lakh record for this employee or for this record Alan DeFreeze. So we can check how many records we have in our test partition table. Yeah, the 2,42,699. So till now, 42,000 records get inserted for this second insertion. So so, so yeah, we were discussing about the table that partition function, partition scheme. So, using once we define a table on a partition scheme, that partition scheme follow that partition function. So once we insert a record in a table, the table follow that partition scheme definition or partition scheme function. So as per the definition of the table, data get stored in the respective file group. So suppose if for this first report the data ideally should go on the file group first. File group first is secondary file group first is db partition underscore secondary fg1. So let us check into the folder. So ideally we should have in this file group. Yeah, here we can see. So here we have file first file group size is 9216 KB. But for the second one, because this we are inserting record for second employee, that is Alan Diffree, so here the size is less comparing to the first one. And now yeah, see, we just saw that size just get increased. So size data is getting inserted at the same time size of the secondary file is also increasing. But for the rest of the file size is same 3072 because this is the default size that we have given. So all this data is inserting for this Alan defreeze, then we will insert record for this one. So yeah, just execute it. Now execute third insert statement. So for the third insert statement we have first name Melon, last name Moff, and department is GMT management, salary is this, and salary is this, and the date is 1st Jan 2012. So this is how and what number of record will get inserted for this. So number of record are 2 lakh, so these record will get inserted into the third file group. Third file group is db partition underscore secondary fg3. So we were watching here the file group structure. File group, yeah. So now this contain 2 lakh record. So size is 9216 kb. This contain 2 lakh record. So the size is to 9216 kb. Now here we are inserting record. So this is in process because we are inserting record for melon for third employee or 2 lakh record. So here the size is 4096 kb. Yeah, we just saw the size is increasing because the same point of time we had executed query. We already executed this third query, so this is inserting data. So then third file is getting increased with the size of 5120 kb, and so it depends. Number of rows are inserting at the same point of time. This size of the file is getting increased. So this is for third employee. Then we can see how many records are total records are there in table till now. So 5,040, 5,41,499 total number of records are. So and then melon, and then we will insert record over here. So now we can see the size of the file. So 8,192 kb is the third file size, 8,000. And now we will see, yeah, it is executing, still executing. And then we will execute this statement for fourth employee. So let us wait for the execution. Yeah, just completed. Yeah, now let us execute this statement. So we are inserting in here James first name, last name is John, department is security, salary is this one, and date is 1st Jan 2013. So we are inserting 2 lakh records. So ideally, as per the uh, partition scheme and partition function definition and structure, these records should go to the file group fourth. File group fourth is secondary fg4. So secondary file 4, that is secondary file.ndf. So here the file size should increase. So yeah, let us check. Yeah, let us check if it is. Here it is executing, and we will check the size. Yeah, now we can see 4096 kb. Current size of fourth file is 4096 kb, and we can also check the number of record. Number of records at this table is 6,84,999 records. So let us wait for the execution. So generally we create a horizontal partition, or we go for the partition for the bifurcation of the data on different file group, and those file group can be on different disk or different systems and different drive anywhere. So based on the file group structure and file group location, once we retrieve the data, IO get increase, input output get increase, because if we have the data on a single file and if we retrieve the data for 10 year or 5 year, then data will comes from only a single file. If we partition the data on different file group, and those file group are allocated or located on different disk or drive, then data retrieval will be fast, because the data is coming from different streams, different ways. But in case of we don't have partition, then data will come only from single stream or single file group, that is primary. So generally we go for the table horizontal partitioning or partitioning once we have huge amount of data for a year, for a month, for a day, depend upon the business structure. Yeah, we just saw this statement get executed. Now execute. last statement. So last statement, yeah. So generally we were discussing about why how we go for the partitioning. So suppose if I have 10 years of the data, and out of 10 years, suppose 2010 onwards, or 2005 onwards, or 2000 onwards, I have data. Now for me on daily basis, I need data for last 2 year or for last 1 year. So what we can do, we can partition the table as per the year structure, or based on 2 year, based on year, or based on month, as per the business requirement or business scenarios. So if we check, if I am searching or browsing data or looking for data only for 1 year on daily basis, then this data will be on one file group, and we can retrieve the data easily and fast or rapidly, because the rest of the data on is on separate file group, on separate disk. So data retrieval will be fast. So this is why we go for uh, partition, table partitioning. So so this is here we are watching all those things, how that partition happens. So we are inserting in this last statement, we are inserting record for Sean Kelly, department is admin, salary this, and date created is 1st Jan 2014. So now we can see how many record. Ideally this table should contain at last 10 lakh record or 1 million record. So let us check how much. Yeah, 9,17,899 total number of record I can see. We can see, yeah. Once this execute, then we will check a number of rows or record in different file group using the system table. So sys.partition join, from sys.partition p join sys.destination underscore data underscore space dds on p.partition number is equal to dds dot destination underscore id join sys dot file group f on dds dot data is underscore space underscore id equal to f dot data underscore space underscore id. So we will execute this, and then we can see how the data is partitioned or bifurcated or distributed among different file group of a table. So that while looking the result of this query, we can exactly see how the data is. Yeah, just executed this last statement. Now we will see, we will execute this query. Now execute. Yeah, so first partition number one, partition file group is this. The first, this is secondary file group. db partition and secondary fg1 contains 2 lakh record. Number of rows are 2 lakh, and fg2 contains 2 lakh, fg3 contains 3 lakh, fg4 contains, sorry, fg3 contains 2 lakh, fg4 contains 2 lakh. So each file group contains 2 lakh record. So as per our partition function and partition scheme structure or definition, this is how the data get bifurcated or distributed among different file group. So now let us create a clustered index on created date column, that is created date, and using this partition scheme on partition scheme by year. So now let us create this clustered index on this partition scheme, and then we will see a data according to the partition, and statement is executing. Create clustered index clsi underscore idx. So now on table partition create date asc, and using this partition schema created it. So yeah, this cluster index created. Now we execute this query. This query will give the partition function by year. Using this partition function, we will know the partition number. So let us execute this query order by partition. So yeah, so 2010 data is for first partition. 2000, this is for 2000 query is still executing. Yeah, 2012 data is for third, 2011 data should be for, yeah, second partition, and 2014 is for fifth partition. Suppose if as per, so this is for first partition record. Yeah, executing this query. So this will give the first partition record, that is 2 lakh record, because 2 lakh record are for each partition. This is from these are the record from first file group, and same for second file group, same for third file group. Now if I insert data, let us do some analysis. If I insert data for, suppose if I am inserting data 100 rows, 100 rows for 2015. So ideally this 2015 record should go on last file group, because we have defined range left for values. Range left says what range left says greater than 2013. So file group fifth will contain 2000 greater than 2015 records. So 2013 record. So I am inserting data for 2015. So let us execute this, and then we will see. Yeah, yeah. So now let us check. So ideally this should be in fifth. Yeah, we can see the fifth file secondary file group contains db partition underscore secondary fg4. This file group contains 2 lakh 100 record. So the last file group is containing additional 2015 record. Now if I insert record for 2008, suppose 2008, now this ideally should go for the first partition, because as per our index, that partition function and partition scheme structure, this should go on the very first file group, that is fg1. So fg1 f5. So yeah, here we can see. So this is how the table is partitioned horizontally, and how the data get bifurcated among the different file group, how we create a file in a file group, and where exactly the file ldf file, mdf file, and how we can change the structure of the folder structure of ldf, mdf and secondary files, and how they are allocated, and what are those extension, how the size get increased. All those things we have watched in this video. So for here we have also discussed about the index structure using clustered index. We saw the individual partitioned data using this partition function. So for the index structure, how the clustered and non-clustered index structure is, and how the data is stored, and how the clustered and non-clustered index work, you can visit my YouTube video or blog or Facebook page. So so you can visit my face that blog is dineshbabuverma.blogspot.com for other index and database or database administrator or developer related task queries or topics. And FB page is www.facebook.com ms SQL server dbdba. And this for index architecture, you can visit my YouTube, that is www.youtube.com/watch question mark v equal to 9 5 f and vj2 t9 vw. So watching this video index architecture, uh, you will be clear, you will have clear understanding about the clustered and non-clustered architecture. uh, thank you guys for watching this video. I hope I was able to help you or to describe detail about my presentation uh, about the horizontal table partitioning. Thank you guys again. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you.